Hello again everyone! Welcome to this tutorial where we will learn step by step how to appraise a clinical trial. First, let's review a little bit about the clinical trials. What is a clinical trial? The experimental studies are those in which the research team controls the studied factor. That is, the team decides who will receive the intervention under study as well as the way in which they will receive it, like doses or timing. The basis objective of this type of studies is to evaluate the effects of an intervention, trying to establish a cause-effect relationship with the observed results. They are, therefore, analytical studies. As we mentioned before, in a clinical trial, the investigator applies an intervention and observes the effect on one or more outcomes. It is because of this that the major advantage of a trial is the ability to demonstrate causality. However, a clinical trial is generally expensive and time-consuming, addresses a narrow question, and sometimes exposes participants to potential harm. For these reasons, trials are best reserved for relatively mature research questions, when observational studies and other lines of evidence suggest that an intervention might be effective and safe, but stronger evidence is required before it can be approved or recommended. A clinical trial consists in the selection of a sample of patients and their random assignment in one of two groups. One group will receive the intervention under study, and the other the control intervention, used as a reference or comparison. Both groups are monitored during a given period of time and comparing the responses observed. Why randomization? Randomization is the cornerstone of a clinical trial, so it is important to do it correctly. Random assignment assures that age, sex, and other prognostic baseline characteristics that could confound an observed association, even those that are unknown or unmeasured, will be distributed equally. Whenever possible, the investigator should design the interventions in such a fashion that the study participants, staff who have contact with them, persons making measurements, and those who ascertain and adjudicate outcomes do not know the study group assignment. This blinding is important in order to maintain comparability in the study groups during the trial and to assure an unbiased outcome. Randomization minimizes the influence of confounding variables at the time of the randomization. Blinding minimizes the post-randomization sources of bias, such as co-interventions and biased outcome ascertainment and adjudication. Let's discuss an article about a randomized clinical trial that relates the effect of a chronotype-adjusted diet on weight loss effectiveness, recently published in the Clinical Nutrition Journal. We will follow the UPMER guide, which I'm sure that, by now, you are completely familiar with it. The first step of the UPMER guide is to identify the aim of the study. At this point, we need to evaluate the extension and the clarity of the aim and its relation with the methodological axis, as well as the correspondence between the aim and the research question, the study design, and the hypothesis. In this case, we find the aim of the article as follows. The objective of the present study was to analyze the effect of a hypocaloric diet adjusted to the chronotype of the patient versus a diet with a conventional caloric distribution on weight loss. If we keep reading the article, we will find the outcome measures. In this case, the primary efficacy endpoint was change in total weight loss percentage from baseline to week number 12. With the UPMER guide, we can establish that this article does not describe adequately the patients under study. Therefore, we state only one point in the first component. However, the outcome variable is adequately described, and the verb in the aim allows us to identify the type of methodological design used. Therefore, we state each component with their respective point, obtaining a total score of 3 points. Continuing with the evaluation of this article, we can see that the subjects were selected through email and advertisements. It is important to review the data related to the population. For example, the selection criteria. In the article, the researchers stated as inclusion criteria as all subjects with a BMI higher than 25 kilograms per square meter, and as exclusion criteria, the cognitive impairment, psychiatric disorders, chronic pharmacological treatment that may affect the effectiveness of the dietary intervention, as well as the presence of chronic disease that may interfere with the dietary therapy, acute disease episode during the study, or subjects who had followed a hypocaloric diet at the allocation time or within 3 months prior to the beginning of the study. If we keep reading the article, we will find the parameters used to calculate the number of patients required. Now, we can return to our OPMER guide. For the population item, we can say that the article explains and justifies the obtention of the sample in relation to the universe of study. We can also see that the article also sets the selection criteria for the population to study. That's why we give the point to each of the first 2 components. Now, for the third and most important component in this item, we can say that the article adequately describes the determinants used in order to obtain the calculated sample size, such as alpha, beta, and the delta or effect size. That's why we give 2 points to this component, obtaining a final score of 4 points. Let's move on and analyze the third item of the OPMER guide. In order to evaluate the methodology of the article, we must focus on the variables in the study and their description. We can see that the article adequately describes the variables to be measured, as well as the description about how they will be measured. For the control of possible bias, we can see in the article how the randomization was made, dividing the sample into 2 groups, in which one group was treated with a hypocaloric diet adjusted to the chronotype, and the other with a standard balanced diet, as well as how the researchers carry out the randomization with the assistance of a computed software. Based on the information in the previous slides, we can give the point to the first component because the variables are adequately described, as well to the third component because the randomization method is adequately described. However, remember that all that glitter is not gold. This article fails when focusing on the second component of the methodology item. It does not adequately describe if the researchers control the quality of the measurement of the variables. So we give no points to this component, obtaining a final score of 2 points. This is the crucial step in the analysis of this item of the OPMER guide. Don't forget it. Let's continue by analyzing the statistics of this article. We can see in the article that the data were analyzed using a t-test and performing a pre-specified ANCOVA test in order to analyze the changes in the anthropometrical parameters during the treatment. We can also see that the researchers considered a level of significance equal to a p less than 0.050. Now, let's see how this article goes by applying the OPMER guide. Based on the last slide, we can give 2 points to the second component because the statistical methods described are in accordance with the aim and with the proposed design of the study. However, the article also fails at describing the normality analysis used. There is no description of the QQ plot nor the Shapiro-Wilk test. That's why we could be tempted to not give the point to the first component. Although there are no descriptions related to the usage of QQ plot or Shapiro-Wilk test, we can see that the population under study is larger than 100 individuals, so we could infer normality within the data. That's why we are giving this component the point. Finally, the article uses ANCOVA as a regression technique to control confounders. That's why we also give this last component the point. Let's finish the evaluation of this article as well as this video by analyzing the outcomes in the study. In this table, we can see that the researchers present a punctual estimator of the outcome by describing the confidence intervals. We can also see that the article takes into account the patient losses during the follow-up of the study. The article also presents the tables and graphics that now you're seeing in your screen. These resources contain the basic information and are self-explanatory. Finally, we can see in the discussion section that the researchers state a chronotype-adjusted diet as more effective than a conventional hypocaloric diet for the treatment of overweight or obesity due to the higher decrease on BMI in the experimental group. Let's finish the filling of the upper guide. Based on the information on the last 5 slides, we can say that the article adequately describes the difference between the groups in comparison and includes the confidence intervals. That's why we are giving 2 points to the first component in the last item. The article also includes self-explanatory graphs and charts, which also includes the confidence limits, and the description of the outcome adequately answers the overall aim of the study, so we give 1 point to the second and to the third component, obtaining a final score of 4 points. If we sum up all the final scores of the upper guide, we will end with a global score of 17 points, meaning that the article has a good methodological quality, making us available to apply the information into our patients. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial, and see you next time.